Persecution. Here we go. Here we go. Let me switch this down. Let's go on with the video.
This is Alan Colmes Versus. We get to discuss some of the more controversial things that have been said in the recent news cycle with some of the key pundits and players getting attention on both traditional and digital media. The epitome of what we around here like to call fair and balanced. And joining me today is Fox Nation and Fox News Radio's very own Todd Starnes. There you go.
Alan, is this a ruse? You told me there was going to be sweet tea down here.
That's the only way we could get you. You know, you make a lot of demands, no green M&Ms. The only way we got you here was sweet tea.
There's not a jug of sweet tea.
Sorry we had to lie to get you here.
Very disappointing, Al.
And one of your big messages is that Christians are being persecuted in America. Is that a statement, is that by itself, is that a standalone statement that you agree with?
I wouldn't use the word persecuted. I think what's happening, when you look at what's happening overseas with Christians being slaughtered at the hands of the Islamic State, that is persecution. But I do think that Christians are under attack here in the United States, and I believe that Christian values are certainly under attack here.
What do you mean by Christian values under attack? How do you
Well, those traditional values that really flavored the founding of the country. You know, there's a lot of debate. You know, people would say America is a Christian nation. Well, I contend that America was founded on Judeo-Christian values.
There were no Judeos back then. Who were the Judeos? I don't know any Judeos.
But when you look at the current state of affairs in America, especially in regards to issues like gay marriage, which is really becoming a battleground for Christians and the culture at large. And there are people now talking about issues I've been writing about for years now. Do gay rights trump religious rights? And can the two live together in some semblance of harmony?
But isn't the question is, should the government really be involved at all? And no one is stopping anybody from doing what they want to do. You want to be straight and get married, fine. You want to be gay and get married, nobody's hurting anybody else, as long as everybody has the same rights as everybody else has.
And you know, this is something that I write about. You know, Alan, you know I'm from the Deep South. I'm from Tennessee, and we have a saying back home, I don't care how you butter your biscuit, just don't tell me how to butter mine.
Exactly right.
And that's how I...
So why not allow gays to get married if they can have, so they can have the same rights as straights?
Well, that's the big debate.
Yeah.
But the problem I have is this. Now you have activists, LGBT activists. I'm not saying everybody, but you have activists out there saying, you know what? Christians don't deserve to have a place in the public marketplace if they don't support gay marriage. They don't deserve to have a job.
Who's saying you don't deserve to have a place in the marketplace?
Alan, look
who said that?
Alan, you got to read my column. You got to watch. You got to listen to my radio commentaries. We talk about this stuff every day.
But tell me who. I mean, but I understand, and I do read your columns, and I do hear you on radio. But I'd like to know from your mouth, who is it who's making those statements?
Just the other day, GLAD got involved in a big issue in South Carolina. The head football coach at Clemson University was invited to speak at a Christian gathering. Yeah. And they got upset because this organization did not support gay marriage. Right. And so now the guy had to back out because they launched a petition. You know, they went after this guy saying he doesn't deserve to have a voice. He doesn't deserve to be able to go and talk to these people because they are homophobes. Because a lot of those lawmakers in Congress and a lot of those governors are spineless rhinos, Republicans in name only.
Really? All these Christians, are they not really Christians?
Spineless.
Are they not
I'm
good
not
Christians?
saying they're, hey, look, it is not for me to judge a man or a woman's heart. I'm just telling you, when push comes to shove, they will not stand up for religious liberty. Remember back when Indiana and Georgia and Arkansas and Arizona were debating these religious liberty laws to protect Christians? Who was it who capitulated? The Republican governors. That's who did it. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the Supreme Court and look at all of the culture war decisions, Alan, those decisions were made by justices that were appointed to the bench, not by Democrats, but by Republicans.
You want liberty for Christians. What about liberty for atheists? What about liberty for gays? What about liberty for Muslims?
Which he doesn't answer.
Muslims are the ones being attacked. There are fewer mosques. They want to shut down the mosque in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. There are people who want to shut down mosques.
Hey, look, let me tell you something.
They did that to churches?
Presbyterians and the Lutherans aren't blowing stuff up. Okay, let's talk about this.
Neither are 99% of Muslims.
And you know what? And here in America, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Christians, we have religious liberty. But what I'm telling you is, in this current environment, Christianity is being marginalized and it's being shut out of the public marketplace. And that's just not right. When you look at the petition drives, for example, when California was debating gay marriage, Prop 8, a lot of people signed petitions, gave money to contribute to that cause. Okay, we're talking about California, a very liberal, those are your people over there, Alan.
People.
Very conservative, a liberal state over there. But you know what? They decided that they voted for Prop 8. So what happened? LGBT activists then went, which is all legal, by the way, they went and found out who signed those petitions, who gave money. And then they went after those people. They targeted those people. One of the directors of the Sacramento Theater Company had to resign because he came under so much pressure because he supported Prop 8. What does that have to do with his job of directing a
But will you
play?
acknowledge?
So there you have it.
Wow.
Todd Starnes, it is correct. There is no persecution, in the United States. I'm going to go on a little rant here, guys. Sorry, but
Yeah. Just before you do, his whole saying about don't butter your biscuit. I'm pretty sure he's seen plenty of buttered biscuits. Jesus Christ! I mean, for fuck's sakes. It's a little stickly thing because I used to wear suits and stuff. Why don't you get one that fits, you fat fucking motherfucker? That button was just about to pop off. I mean, I could see it going flying across the studio any second.
Tell us how you really feel, Paul.
He's a fat bastard.
No, I'm just kidding. But where he is wrong is my opinion is that Christians are being attacked. They're not really being attacked, and I'll explain why. Especially here in the United States, I'll speak of. But I need to put in the context and the definition of basically religious persecution. I mean, like religious persecution, and I'm reading here, is a systematic mistreatment of an individual or group of individuals as a response to their religious beliefs or affiliations, or lack thereof. Religious persecution may be triggered by religious bigotry, denigration of practitioners' religions other than those of the oppressors, or by the state when it views a particular religious group as a threat to its interest or security. At a societal level, this dehumanization of a particular religious group may readily turn into violence or other forms of persecution. Indeed, in many other countries, religious persecution has resulted in so much violence that it is considered a human rights problem. So my take on this, the definition is, religious persecution is when you cannot practice your own religion in peace. Not when you cannot force others to practice it or to be punished or discriminate against for not doing so. Now, here in the United States, the U.S. government is not coming to your churches, burning them down, shooting them up, committing mass genocide of your religion, telling you when or when not, or when you can pray, I should say, or proselytize. You're not pushing. I mean, like, we're not pushing your communities out. We're not hindering in any way your religious freedoms. That type of persecution doesn't exist here in the United States, at least what I have seen myself, I should say. Your kids can pray in school amongst other students. You can teach your child creationism at home or at Sunday school. You can preach immoral bullshit to anyone you wish. So, anything else you guys want to say? I'm sure somebody wants to say something here. TJ?
Well, it's pretty much just a temper tantrum that they throw because they're not getting the way that they've always had it. Like, as soon as you start pointing out, like, wait a second, you don't have a monopoly on this shit, then they're like, oh my God, you stop stepping on my religious persecution. You're stepping on my religious rights. They have some kind of idea that their religious rights trump other people's civil rights.
Yeah.
Like the way I feel about something means you shouldn't be, like, if I think gay marriage is bad, that means you can't get gay married because I'm allowed to make decisions for you based on my religious convictions. But just Christianity, because as is pointed out, if it's any other fucking religion, Todd Starnes is like, oh yeah, well they have their liberty, yeah, fine. But it's the Christians that they're really coming after. It's because Christians are being marginalized now and not being taken. It's not. In this age of information, it's not like, oh wow, you have this like dominance, this power. People are fucking figuring out that you're scam artists, that you're fools, that you're blowhards, and you're idiots that have to have fuckers like Todd Starnes defend you.
The funny thing about that is Christians need to realize that, in my opinion, of course, they're not being persecuted and they're not being attacked. Many of these conservative Christians, I should say, are doing the attacking, like you stated, TJ. I mean, like on same-sex marriage, women reproductive rights, including the closure of the majority of abortion clinics. They're attacking, and they're also, I should say, attacking the freedom of press when it comes to atheist and humanist billboards. Drew, I think you want to say something.
I was going to say in relation to what TJ was saying, like he even straight up said that. He's like, well, it's do gay rights trump religious rights? It's like, well, do you have the religious rights are your rights to believe as you see fit. The gay rights, the rights is them to seek out their own happiness, just like you have the right to seek out your religion.
I've often said it. The Christian right when it comes to gay rights is you don't have to taken in the ass or get gay married or anything like that. That's your Christian right, is you don't have to partake in it. Doesn't your Christian right is not to tell other people they can't.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
him to actually, and he actually used that phrase, I don't butter your biscuit, don't tell me how to butter mine. Are you fucking
Kidding me? What a fucking hypocrite, dude.
Dude, how could you possibly like not see that is exactly what you're doing? Like, and he follows up a talk about, you know, gay rights as opposed to religious rights with that.
That's amazing. And now I will say here, since I just heard you guys, is that Christians are, and I'll defend the Christians to a certain point here. Christians are being persecuted in other countries. There's no doubt. We can't deny that. You know, countries like Iran, Iraq, and other Islamic countries that have a theocratic law or abide by a theocratic law. You know, we have to be fair and balanced here. The true meaning of the phrase. You know, and state that also gays, humanists, atheists, secularists, and yes, Muslims and other people of other religions are being persecuted throughout the world. I mean, look at Christians persecuting Muslims in Car Africa, and also I should say, I give you another example, is like the activists in the Middle East that are being hanged, killed, and jailed for their activism. You know, many countries, which is illegal, I should say. But
Rafi, his sentence was upheld.
Yeah, it was
1,000 lashes, 10 years in prison for being a blogger.
Unbelievable. But the funny thing about that is you won't hear these stories, you know, from Fox News or other conservative Christians out there. You won't hear this shit. I mean, like hosts on Fox News and people like Todd Starnes, Robertson, AFA, and so on, they need to stop playing the fucking victim card and throwing red herrings out there on social issues when religion plays no role on many, I should say, not all, but many of these social issues. It's about basic human rights and civil rights here in the United States, at least the United States I'll speak of.
Yeah.
Well, Starnes is going on like, oh, well, a Judeo-Christian nation, so it means that, you know, the Christian values is what is standard, what should be, and it's under attack by allowing gays to get married. That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard, that their religious freedoms is under attack because other people actually get civil rights and are getting the same rights as what they enjoy. You know, it's fucking retarded. I don't understand that mindset that their religion has to be adhered to by everyone, and when it's not, they're being persecuted.
It is fucking amazing, though. It really is.
And when he was mentioning all those groups, when he dodged that atheist question and all that
about
stuff,
atheism, Muslims, and shit like that.
Yeah. The groups that he mentioned that have religious liberty were like, you know, everybody but, you know, atheists. And
It's funny because I've actually heard the argument made that secularism is a religion, and that we're pushing that by pushing equality and freedom from religion and everything, we're actually pushing our own religion. And so if they just called it secularism a religion, we could ban that, just like they're trying to ban Christianity.
Well, no, that's a good point, TJ. But that point is good. Okay, it's relevant, of course. But what I'm going to say is like, if it wasn't for their so-called religious persecution complex, or them trying to violate certain rights people should have, we wouldn't have to do what we do. We wouldn't have to fucking do it. I mean, like, this is a secular country. Okay. It's about equality. I'm like, look at the Bill of Rights. Look at the First Amendment. I'm like, look at the 4th, 9th, and 14th Amendment, which we're going to be getting into later on another topic. I mean, look, we have these freedoms here for a reason. It's about equality. Treat people equal. But guess what? On some issues, they're getting the upper hand, you know, trying to implement religious freedom laws and this and that, where they have these freedoms, but they're trying to do it to discriminate against LGBT.